We're live? And we're live! Welcome back, everyone. We have a really different type of video this week. Ethan's getting married soon, and he's going with a very spooky Halloween-y theme wedding. It's going to be quite the thing, and we might have some footage of that. But in order to get there, he needs to build some props, and he wants to use company time to do it. So the only way we could justify it is to actually show you guys what he's doing and how he's doing it. He got some really cool ideas that he already showed me. He has a couple examples here. He'll get to that in a second. But he's going to be running the show, and I just wanted to introduce this and show you guys that we set up like 3 different cameras. We have a top down. Look at that, and the close up to the hands. Nope. Wait. Yeah, you got it. You showed them all. There you go. So, get over here and run the show.
All right.
Hello, yeah. Exactly what Pablo said. We have a whole Halloween themed wedding coming up, and we wanted to make sure that the Halloween party aesthetic of it really came together. So we're going all in for the Halloween thing, we're getting costumes ready, and we figured that props would be the best way to not only get everybody else into the Halloween spirit, but also it was a great opportunity to kind of show off what we've been doing. And what we wanted to do, first off, is go to dollar stores and then kind of make our way up to like higher price props, so that by the time that we got to the party, we could just not break the bank and also get really creative with the different options that we have, because all the things that we had in mind really weren't things that you could buy in stores. You have the things that we have to make, and we figured that why not use this time and show it off to you guys, because we want to start showing more intricate build videos, not just new stuff, and want to get sure that you guys can see what we've been doing. So the first one to show off would be this guy, if we want to switch over to camera 2.
Sorry, 1 second.
1 second. So this is a little spider diorama. You can kind of see the guy in there. Basically, it's like a $1 snow globe kit that we found at a dollar store. It's very easy to come off. It has like a bottom lid section here where you can seal whatever liquids you want into. Obviously, we didn't do liquids, but we did get this little skeleton guy that we chopped up with the flush cutters. We put in a base of foam of the pink stuff, the extruder foam, and then we just filled in the rest with dirt, sands, paint, the usual way that you would make a tiny diorama. But the highlight, obviously, is we have our little spider boy in there, nomming on and protecting his little skeleton friend. So we actually did this a few nights ago in less than an hour. We didn't really want to go into much painting or decorating of like the figures or the bones and everything. It was just so that it could stay confined to one thing and be very easy to make in. One of the projects that I'm going to be working on today is going to be these guys. And then moving on from that, we ended up decorating one of these guys. Now this is a $1 candle from the dollar store. Now it didn't come like this. The original way that these guys come is just basic standard candle shape. Let's see if I can get the other one out here. All I really did for that guy was enhance it with hot glue. Now this isn't the $1 version. I gotta clarify that. This is another one. A little bit more expensive, but just to give you the idea of what we've been doing. Just LED light candle, totally fine. It's great. But with the hot glue, we really were able to kind of accent the Victorian side of it all with the melting candles, making it look like it's been used. This will be another one that we go into. I already have a hot glue gun prep, so while we're waiting on some of the other intricate things that I have planned, we're gonna have this guy be our B project and move forward with it. But I'm really excited for this guy. All right. Now, this is a better version and a better look at the snow globe thing. It's a little, and it has to be airtight. a little difficult to work with, but what we wanted to do is actually take these little doves and we wanted to paint them black or just give them a little bit of detailing. That way they didn't just look like white doves, because spooky, Halloween. We wanted to make them dark. We wanted to fit in with the whole vampire look that we're gonna go for, the Victorian era stuff. So those guys will end up getting painted to show off the actual snow globe part of this. It's just a dome. Like I said, it's got the sealant cap that just fits in there. It's airtight. And then this screws on at the bottom.
So you got the globe at the dollar store?
Yes, so yeah, this globe we actually did pick up at the dollar store. We just got 2 for the first round just to see how they would look. And we did the skeleton spider guy as a tester. But these guys, they really come in handy if you want to make something small, or if you want to make something like a little bookcase or a little book nook. These guys will come in handy. I was also thinking about if I could 3D print a little Madame Leota from the Haunted Mansion in here. This would be a great way to do it. So, these doves actually ended up coming from, I think they also came from the dollar store as well. A lot of like the little prompts that we ended up getting were from dollar stores or like Joann's, Hobby Lobby, things like that. We wanted to just look at all our options and make sure that as we went forward, we can get as many random bits as we could very cheaply. So these, I believe, came in a bag of 2 or 4. We also got little spiders. That's where this guy came from. We have skeletons, a whole bunch of little things that, you know, really were cost effective and really great for this build. So we're starting off with this guy. Another thing that you'll need as we go, I have a 1 part glue, 2 parts water mix here. This guy is what's going to be really used for gluing down on materials once you actually get to the diorama side of things, and make sure to always have isopropyl alcohol with you. These little guys will make and break any project that you make. Be sure to also have an X-Acto blade. I have the one here, it's brand new, it's going to be sharp, it's going to come in handy. We have cutting mat, also flush cutters. These guys, they're a little bent, but they'll come in handy with these cheap prompts. If there's any edging that you need to get rid of, these guys will help. We also have paper towels. We have the rest of our tools here, in which, moving on to the rest of the tools, I'll show off. These will be a part of the actual decoration of the diorama. So let's go over to the different varieties. I ended up getting some of these, again, from dollar stores, different hobby shows. You have your different grasses, dark tones, light tones, autumn leaves. I've seen other people, instead of going out to buy them, they actually go to their yards and they get dirt that they find on the ground, pick it up, blend it, you know, make their own mixes, and really adds to realism, because you can kind of tell with these guys, they do look like foam. But the funniest thing that I do remember seeing is that people go out of the way to actually get their own dirts and sands. Got buckets and buckets of just bags of rocks and sands and things to work with. All these for different tones will come in handy, and then we got some dry brush.
Did you collect any of this yourself?
Some of them I did collect, yes. These, I think the dark browns and the earth tones, I actually did go out, got a shovel, collected a small bit of dirt, and then I put them inside containers to dry. Because that's the important thing. You kind of want these things to be dry, so when you work with it, all the glues and the isopropyl alcohol really adhere to everything. So, you know, mix and match, do what you can. A lot of this stuff is going to be available at hobby stores moving forward. And the next important thing, aside from all of that, will be the material that you actually start to build with. You can use regular, I'm blanking on the word, styrofoam, but we're going to be using the extruder foam, the pink stuff that's used for installation of insulation. This guy. I brought a little chunk today because I didn't want to bring like a whole, you know, a whole wall piece. But this is the guy that we're going to be using. It's what I used for the bottom of this. If you can kind of tell here, just all pink. Pink hot glues. You can use Gorilla Glues, anything that will just come in handy. it's very easy to build up something like this because it's things that are readily available. And even if you wanted or didn't know what you want to make and you want some practice with it, there are kits for these available at hobby stores. I've even seen them at Walmart. If you went through the California school system for a little while, you'll remember that they did a project where you had to make a mission, like an old California church mission thing. And it comes with all the materials, comes with the plaster, everything you need. Just build a little house, and it teaches you step by step how to go about it. I'll be doing the same today, but obviously we're not going to be building a mission. This is going to be more specific. So I already went through all the materials. We'll just go straight into it.
What are you starting with?
We're going to be starting off with the foam. You can use whatever you want. I'm just using this compressed version. We picked this one up, I believe, at Lowe's. We're going to be making a little snow globe project. So I had an idea for this guy. I did want to have the birds in here, but I think I'm going to save the birds for last because I have to build up a base, but I also want to decorate that base. This is where it gets the ideal part of the things that I was telling you guys about. We do have these molds. These were actually for baking. These are actually baking trays. We got them for a trick that I found online where you basically fill them up with hot glue and then you peel them out once they're dry so that you can get shapes of pumpkins, bottles. What I want to do for this guy is I want to make a little graveyard Terminator style site where a whole bunch of these skulls are laid up on the ground and we have the pigeons resting up on top of them just to make it look like they're just perched up on skulls. Simple as that. I already have the hot glue gun warming up right now. I think we'll start off with that for right now because I haven't done this before and I want to see that it works. And there should be no reason for it to not work, but you know, be cautionary, so we're going to be experimenting here. I'm just using a regular hot glue gun with clear glue. I'm really expecting this to just paint over well. If not, we can always sand it just a little bit. I did bring a sanding brush to get us some texture because you don't want to put paint or glue on anything that's just flat. You want something with grit so that the adhesive can grab onto something. I would have preferred, and I just remember that I should have gone like a different color of hot glue because they sell it in different colors, but this should be fine for now. It's all going to get painted over, and I'm not expecting it to have that much detail because it's something that, if you can kind of see in this guy, the glass does cover a little bit of the fidelity, I guess. It's a little foggy in there, so it's easier to hide your imperfections, but also really adds to the atmosphere of it. So what I'm going to start off with here is these molds. Move this guy out of the way. Now I'm gonna get with the skulls first, because those are the ones that have more intricate detail. I want to be sure that they actually hold in place. If you have any questions, be sure to let them know down in the comments. Pablo's our moderator right now, so he'll be able to help with any of that kind of stuff. What I'm thinking is that I'm not too worried about the backs being loose or gloppy or anything, because I'm still gonna sand it down, but I want to be sure is that they at least stay level. And like the man Bob Ross said, just whack the devil out of it, because we're gonna want this glue to settle in. Speaking of glue, I need to get more glue sticks. I don't know what I was expecting, but this is actually settling in pretty nice. And we're just gonna rinse and repeat, just fill it all in. It's funny, I wanted to get a little toy robot. I wanted to do a Terminator scene, but I don't think that fits too well into the theme, although it's Halloween. Since it's a costume party, I'm expecting people to show up in different costumes. But I want to be sure that this is at least cohesive and, like I said, in theme. But I would love to do a little set, because out of all the science fiction dystopias, the Terminator future world it always kind of stuck with me. I always loved how the 80s aesthetic and how they shot for night was always blue lights for nights, highlighted by the purple lasers, and just the whole 80s technology and everything was really cool to see. And I don't know how and why they messed it up so bad for, was it Terminator Genesis, the one with Emilia Clarke? Don't watch it. It's a terrible movie. If you haven't watched it, don't watch it. It's god awful. If you've been watching the news, you know how I feel about remakes and sequels. There's only a few good ones, and it's only because they're made by super nerds who are like, no, we're gonna get this right. Ghostbusters Afterlife is one of them. But fucking love that movie. They just botched that whole future world aesthetic, and I never understood why. It's not that hard, but I think it's also because they filmed with digital effects. They didn't keep anything practical. They didn't have that many, if at all, any robots on set with them, as in the props for the Terminators. Because in the original one is, you know, they're on a budget, they're doing it cheap, so they have guys with sticks with the Terminators, you know, walking around or just waving in the camera. It's like, oh, we need a insert shot of the arm. All right, cool. Let's let's rip this arm off the maquette, wave it in front of the camera, and have it just. I don't know. I miss that element of filmmakers having fun with their projects, and that's something that I was really disappointed in watching that they didn't capture in the new Terminator. But there really hasn't been a good Terminator since the second one. I think it's just James Cameron ruins these movies because he's like, oh, I'm gonna make the better film, makes a phenomenal sequel to it, and then like, oh fuck, where do we go from there? All right. So these guys, I made a little mistake here. I let the hot glue for the first one settle in for a little while. So the first one went in fine. It's great. These last few ones, because the hot glue didn't have that much time to really rest in the gun and get warm, they're a little bit more warped than the others, especially this last one. But I'm not too worried because I did bring a heat gun in a little bit or later. I'll turn that guy on, flatten the edges here. We're just gonna put this to the side. That way when we keep going with the project, we can just do some touch-ups if we want to. And for aesthetic choice, we could also make them look like they're melting. So that'll be fun. So as that cools, I'm gonna bring out our foam. The first thing that we want to be sure is that we can line up everything appropriately, as in this guy has to be wide enough so that the foam can fit through and nothing touches the edges. The mistake that I did on this guy was that I first just glued the foam on there and then I traced it out with a Sharpie and be like, oh, this will fade, it just slides in. It was still too wide. I did it right up to the edge of the lip, middle of the night, whatever, and didn't account for the fact that it has to fit inside of it. And because of how much I'm going to be building on this guy, because I think I do want to put these birds on little sticks. I did bring some balsa wood sticks that I want to prop these guys on, and it'll help for painting them. But the real thing that I want to focus on this next one is height. So I'll have to keep that in mind. Thankfully, we have measurements here with the mat that'll help us going. But take the bottom of this guy, do a lid here, and we're just going to trace along the edge of the circle. That way we can, at the very least, use that as a basis to start working on. We'll take these guys off. I don't really need them right now. I have another pair for when it comes to the actual painting and stuff. But there's other ways to do this. I didn't bring my big box knife, but this will be just fine. The only thing that I would say about working with foam and with knives is that because of the material that foam is, and just because of how how compressed this foam is, it can be very, well, not corrosive, but it wears down the blades really, really fast. Be sure to always have extras with you. I have some for myself right now, but be aware that the more you use a blade with foam in this capacity, it's gonna start to get dull, and you have to be conscious of that fact, because if you're working with the blade and you kind of get into autopilot and not paying attention to what you're doing, you could cut your hand or your finger. Now, I kind of did that this morning, but not with a project. It was more that I just sharpened some knives in the morning before I started cooking, and then as I was cleaning them, the blade went straight through the the sponge, just got me on the side. It wasn't bad. I mean, I've cut myself before, but you know, you don't want to do that. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. So I think I already got like a good amount of distance here, and because of this foam, I don't worry about snapping it because it's very, very compressed. It's easy to just chip away. Let me see. I'm not worried too much about this side not looking pretty, because I want to be able to have room to kind of shave things off, level them out, and it just also helps to give texture. But for now, we'll just do these rough cuts and get the edges off. I would be saying that the next step after this is to seal the foam, but we're not really working with resin. It's just acrylic paints. None of this is really anything that I feel like we have to really seal anything. There are different ways to do it. If you do want to make a bigger version of this, I suggest you watch any of the Boylai Hobby Time videos or the Boulder Creek Railroad videos. Those guys are phenomenal. Most of the techniques that I'll be talking about today come from them. But like I said, for this project, because I'm not doing anything really crazy with it, we're just going to leave it as is. You can seal the foam with what's his face? I'm blanking on the name. It's the heat gun. You can seal it with the heat gun just as a surface level thing to cover up all the pores, but depending on the type of foam that you have, it could melt it, so be aware of that. After that, you can do plaster. If you want to mix plaster with paint to get a nice level base to start building things up when it comes to like dioramas like that, that would be the place to start. But for now, we're just going to be going off with this, so if we can get a little closer here. Yeah. This is what we're going to be really looking for. We just want something that fits here with the bottom of the base. And I'm not going to glue it down right now. I just want to see, give it a test here. Oh, perfect. Cool. See, practice makes not perfect. I forget what the guy in that video said, but I don't know. He's like, practice and practice and practice makes perfect. Like, no, dismantle that belief system. I always forget what it is. I don't know what I'm dismantling. But moving on from that guy, you can definitely use different types of glues. We're just gonna be sticking to hot glue today. We're gonna plug that guy back in here. Give a little look over at the skeletons. But you really want to be, when you're gluing things like this, and depending on the glue that you use, you want them to be secure, because different types of glues react differently. I know that hot glue tends to expand when you're drying, or when it's drying, so you want to be sure that everything that you use comes with a failsafe. So for these guys, I actually brought tiny clamps, although I'm blanking on where I left these tiny clamps. Yes. Oh, but here are the extra blades. Like I said, remember, extra blades that come in handy. Oh, that's not important. That's not important. Another big thing. This reminds me. Foam clay. Save your life. I think I won't be using it that much this project, but what it is, as the name implies, it is foam clay. I don't know what it's exactly made of, but it's actually come in handy for a lot of builds that I've done in the past. When you first use it, you'll want to wear gloves. It starts off really wet, but as it dries, it takes shape. You can use this material to make teeth, or if you're going to be making like a prop, you can shape it to whatever you want. It's phenomenal. And it does have a working time of about like, I want to say 24 hours or so, because you really want to give it time to settle in and to dry properly. But I do want to show this guy off a little bit. Well, let's move over here to the overhead camera if we can. Or no, this will be good too. You can kind of see it. This is just wet. It's already kind of taken that shape, but I'll just show it off right now. When you peel it, it's kind of got this almost Play-Doh-like consistency. It's super fun. But do anything, just roll it out, make any shape you want, and then here we'll do this as a little test. I'll make a little tooth here, and we'll set it to the side. This is small enough to where I don't think we'll have to worry about it needing to cure for 24 hours. But we'll set this guy to the side. We'll check back with him later. But it's a really phenomenal material that I didn't even know existed until I started watching more cosplayer videos and they started getting into all the materials that they actually use. That one is a great one to keep in mind. Well, I don't know where I left these tiny clamps. We don't need them. It's fine. As long as the hot glue gun gets set, we'll be on our way. So, I'm already forgetting my own rules. Sandpaper. It's 220 grit. I didn't need anything that strong for this. I just needed something that would give all of this texture. But I'm gonna take the top of your lid, anything that you need to glue. Just one side. It doesn't have to be that much, just in the areas that you know are gonna need glue contact. Yeah, if you can kind of see here, just that ring. That's where most of the glue is going to be, but I do want to go in and just get the edges here. You don't need to go as intense as I am with this. You just have to get it enough to where you can get it on all ends. That'll do. Set this guy to the side. Now, you can do this again with the foam. I'm going to do it. Depending on the type of foam that you use, you won't have to. But just to be safe, every time, like I said, I'm going to do it anyways. Get the bottom of it. Give it some texture.
Sanding is a good sound or a bad sound of the bike?
Welcome back to my sanding ASMR video. We'll be getting into some hardcore sanding. I didn't leave him over there. Now I just have an idea of like where I might have left the other guys. They might be downstairs. It's fine. Aha! Found one. Hey, tiny clamp. Looks like a little dinosaur. So, I think this is hot enough. This should be fine. I will say now that you're gonna see me doing a whole bunch of things that most serious, I guess, or other hobby makers are like, why are you doing that? Why is it? It's fine. Whatever. We're not all perfect. I'm just excited to get going. And I don't really mind either cutting corners or just doing things differently. It's a process, and I just really enjoy building this way. And surprisingly enough, is a fun insight into people's thought process. But this is fine. So this is all glued in. I wanted to be sure that there was like enough space here on the edges, so just keeping it center as you can. A test fit of this guy will be fine. But right now, I just want to get this piece in so that moving forward, see here, it's kind of pushing up because of the heat. Just keeping that down, getting the plastic and everything to just kind of melt together. This is just a way to keep it all together here. Now as I go forward, I will be shaving off the edges to this because I want more space to add things to, and I want more of an opportunity to build up on the sides. And because there's a lot of here, well, I need a little bit of space at the bottom of this because the clamp is not gripping, so I'm just gonna put that guy at the bottom and then just clamp it in there. Just so that it stays in place. It's not necessary, I know this is just being extra because I wanted to show off these tiny clamps, but I do want this to just stay in place. So we'll just kind of leave this guy on its own, left to its own devices for the while. And then we'll move on to this second part. Get rid of these scraps. We'll check back into these skulls over here. But you can kind of see it. They're already getting dry. They're whitening on the edges. Surprised that, well, actually I'm not surprised because the glue on these two guys wasn't as hot as the first one. If you can see, the first one's still very, clear in the middle, so that's going to take a little bit of time. But these guys are drying up real fast. I don't know how that's going to affect the mold of the skull face, but I think it should be fine. I mean, there's already enough depth in there that I'm not too worried. And besides, we can.
Once dried, the glue will go completely white?
Yes, so once dried, yes, the glue will go completely white. It'll look like the packet of hot glue when you first pull it out of the bag. So that's something to look out for. And actually, for that, I am going to leave a visual marker for myself because these guys will tell you about how clear or so they should be. It's a little bit transparent here, but we'll just put that to the side so I can keep an eye on it and just remember. But moving on, I want to prep the birds. Yes, that is a sentence that I didn't expect myself to ever say, ever. But and we are going to prep the birds. Oh, look at this already. So it looks like these guys are just little blocks of foam. Just little strips of foam carved out to make different shapes. So that's neat. It makes it easier to kind of work with things. I think I want to lightly paint the sides of the feathers, but we'll get to it when we get to it. If you don't want to see a bird impaled, look away now. But we're just gonna. Actually, before I do that, I have a better way of doing this. I have a screwdriver around here that I want to use to kind of pilot pull a way in. But I've been using it all day, so it's just kind of been disappearing. In the meantime, we'll just use my keys. Now, if you're wondering what tool I'm getting right now, it's a holdover from my In-N-Out days. It's just our apron pin. It's just a really big safety pin. But the point is that it comes in handy. And I want to give it too much because I have to preserve the integrity of the birds. So we're just going to get it right here in the center. Actually, wait, before I do that, gotta figure out where I want them. So this guy I've already kind of like put up, so I guess I will just keep him as a center. I think I want to have him off center so that I can place the other guy. I think I do want this guy resting on top of a few skulls and then one lower. So we'll keep this guy up top. I'm thinking ahead for structural stability that I'll probably put the pole on this guy on the side so that I can keep this stick to the center of the foam and it doesn't break or fall. But, It's like a 3D puzzle that only you can solve. Nobody knows but you, so it's the magic of figuring it all out. I'm thinking I might use super glue for that guy, because I don't want the hot glue to melt it. But like all this, we're kind of making it up as we go along, but also following along. Puzzles that you can't solve. So, I was just thinking about what I wanted to use. Yeah, the super glue is going to be my better bet. I can't be out here risking the lives of my birds and having them melt. It's not what I want. Here it is. Just take the cap off this guy. And you'll notice as the build goes just how crazy this top space is going to get. I have a tendency to just grab things. You're like, oh, I need this now. And then it just stays on the desk, so we'll try to keep this space clear as we go. So I'm just going to do a little dab of the birds here. Let's get a closer view. I think this would be a good one to kind of show off. So I put a little dab of the glue in there, and we're just going to just stab the bird. I know it's not the best way to say it, but we're just going to stab this bird. And we're going to move on to the next one. So the piece that I put is like right here for it. And I'm just going to put, like I said, just going to insert the nozzle of the glue in there, just fill it. And we're just going to drop this guy in there. I'm not too worried about them showing up. I'm going to paint them, give it a little bit of space here at the bottom. But all this is just going to be hidden on the foam. So another trick that I found, and also kit makers and model makers do this too, with this foam, comes in really handy for painting. Now I don't have a airbrush with me. That's not something that I have. I also didn't want to just bring that, but this will come in handy for painting no matter what. I do have a little angled sponge that I want to use, because I don't want to just slather a bunch of paint on them. I want to keep them at least looking decent. But we'll just put them on the block of foam there. This is a little sponge that I was talking about. More for makeup, but for our purposes, you know, any tool's a hammer. Today, that guy's gonna be our paintbrush. I feel like Mary Poppins just kind of grabbing things from the and we have paints. I'm just gonna bring out the whole collection now just to kind of show them off. They're all acrylic. What we're gonna be using for this.
Why do you want acrylic as opposed to other stuff?
Well, aside from the fact that it's cheaper, is that
so really, I thought it was supposed to be one of the more like premium.
Well, also, it all comes down to what you're comfortable working with. I know how to use oil paints. Oil paints are fine. They do give you a lot of color and texture and things, but it's not what I've worked with before, and I feel like it's just easier to kind of get going. Besides, with most of the projects that I make, I always layer paints, primarily sometimes with spray paints and cans. It's easy to just kind of build up texture, and I like worn and used looks, and those just really come in handy for it. Especially with these guys, if you're going to be doing any dry brushing techniques, or if you're just going to be doing any regular painting, I just find that acrylic's easier to use for those purposes. But what I'm wanting to do, because I have a lot of gray earth materials, and I want to go more for like that Terminator look of things, I'm thinking that I want to get these grays. I have brushed metal. We'll go in with that guy. I do have this black. It's all mattes. I have another black. For the earth tones, I kind of want to go for like a scorched bronze regal, so I'm going to go with this cafe color. And then we're going to go in for this little bit of gold, little gold highlights. kind of want to add that to like the rusting or like the face look of the skulls. Keep that in there. The skulls, I don't want to have them white. It's something that I was thinking about a few nights ago, that I won't have to really worry about it because of the color of the hot glue, but I also want to give them a charred look. So that's why these blacks are going to come in handy. The golds for the earth. And as we go forward with this side, it's going to get really fun once we start getting into that side of the build. We're just going to layer on texture, and we're going to just literally be gluing dirt down and grasses and things onto this. So this will be really fun to get into. And speaking of this guy, I think he's ready, but we'll just take him off the stand for now, let him sit to the side. I'm not too worried about him right now. This is what I'm kind of worried about. We'll see how well the paint adheres to that guy, but we'll just have to take that into consideration. We want these to be black. There's already a lot of white on the bottom of it. Before I go all in for that, no, I think I will go all in. I'm just gonna start with this regular black. I think I picked these up at a Hobby Lobby a little while ago, but oh wait, no, is that silver? Yeah, it's silver. Huh. Well then, never mind. This is black. I took off this sticker off that. Yeah, it's metallic premium. This is matte black. We're going with matte black. And I do have a little bit of water here. Ah yes, Neverland. Stay hydrated, keep reading. Water bottles. Unreleased official water bottles. But you're gonna see just how chaotic I am. We're just gonna go straight onto the It's fine. I didn't bring my mixing thing, but this is fine. I mean, acrylic paint's acrylic paint. And I also, like I said, do love the aesthetic. Remember to shake your paints. Mix them. I do love the aesthetic of just a worn pad. I like it when things look like they've been used, because to me they've been loved. They're serving their purpose. They're happy little mats. Just gonna get a little dab of paint here in the corner. Get these paints out of the way, and then yes, hydration.
You're supposed to say the website's name, but we don't have one yet. So
here, we'll see if this works. Aha, just a little bit. All right. So this is gonna spread like crazy, but it should be fine. I'm not too worried. So we're actually gonna move this guy a little farther out here. We'll focus on this one for now. We'll go light dabs here. We'll just mix that in. It's gonna go everywhere. But that's why we have a pad. Everything stays on the pad. What happens on the pad stays on the pad. Also, paper towels, remember to always have them with you. I do have paper towels over here, so we'll just kind of dab that guy off. And that guy will come in handy for... Whoop. That guy will come in handy for dry brushing later. But yes. Alright, my bird friend. Good luck. Oh, wow. Neat. That's actually turning out not horrible. For a split second, I was thinking, do I want to give some advice to mom on this? Just like, no, just go for it. Just cover the bird. I want my bird. I think that's a whiplash from Iron Man 2. I want my bird. Yeah, I'm just gonna go.
What do you mean? This is a good bird.
No, I want my bird. I think that's one of the villains that I want to see back, but it's not worth it now because Tony Stark is dead. I just loved how they had that, both that Playboy energy, but also Justin Hammer was just trying too hard. And then Tony Stark, because he's Tony Stark, is just effortlessly cool. And we'll take him off the foam. We're just gonna go straight in. It looks pretty good though. I'm surprised. Once he dries out, we'll do multiple coats, and I do want to get some gray into his feathers too, because that's what I really want to build up. It's just the texture. Yeah, we'll just get a little bit of water here. Yes. Yes. Yeah, just no rhyme or reason. Remember, people, there are no accidents. What are they called? They're happy accidents? I feel so bad.
There's no mistakes. There's just happy accidents.
Yeah, there's no mistakes. Just happy. Master Uwe, there are no accidents. Yeah, that's an unfiltered look into what plays in my mind. That's what it's like to live in my mind, just movie quotes that I feel like are appropriate. Yes. The stick hole. The hole where the stick goes in. I'm sorry. We're just... This is fine. This is fine, don't worry. I'm just painting this bird black. Na 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 na. I see the birds walk by. Something something. Na na na. I see a white bird and I want to paint it black.
That's a good one. We do have your background music going.
Oh, neat. Right, yeah, I forgot the background music. Yeah, I chose it because it fits into the aesthetic of the John Carpenter Halloween look of things. Because he's one of my favorite directors. And also the Halloween movies are great. The Fog is great. Big Trouble in Little China. Escape from New York. All phenomenal. If you haven't seen them, I highly recommend that you watch them. They're definitely products of their time, but they're just really fun movies. Primarily Big Trouble in Little China. John Carpenter and the cast and crew talked a lot about how much they loved the old Kung Fu movies, and because they were coming out at the time, John Carpenter felt that he just wanted to see a Kung Fu movie where, like, the main hero, at least the US versions, he wanted to see one where the hero was actually the sidekick. In this case, I think, yeah, they're Chinese in that one. He wanted the white guy that would be traditionally billed as the hero to just be a bumbling idiot the entire way through, and he 100% is that. Phenomenal movie. There's a lot of jokes in that, and it also has one of the appearances of the Ghostbusters firehouse in it. They use the one in LA for the interior shots, and it shows a Big Trouble in Little China and also in The Mask. But for now, I think this Bowie will be fine. He's painted all the way through. There are some spots like in the back of the tail, but I'm not really too worried about that because they're just going to be facing down. We'll let this guy rest to the side over here. I got another block that I want to put him on. But we'll just stabby, stabby, stab, stab, stab. You know, I did say that I was going to show you what it's like to be in my mind. I totally forgot that I'm supposed to be wearing gloves. So here we go. Gloves time, people. Wear the required and appropriate protective equipment. Remember your PPE? Yeah. Exactly for this reason, because don't want to have my hands covered up in glue or paints, but here we are. Oh, that's a terrible way to put gloves on, but here we go. Bird number 2. Which actually might come in handy, because then I can use my fingers to kind of spread this paint around, but... Just gonna... Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski? It's a quote from the Big Lebowski. But yeah, talking about John Carpenter was talking about Big Trouble in Little China. Phenomenal movie, like I said. There's a really fun moment that is one of many, but one of my favorite moments in that movie is they're going in for the final battle. They've met with the Eternal Emperor Sorcerer Wizard guy, and they're about to do their final duel. All the heroes are lined up. They have some backup with them. They're doing their battle cry like all in a row. Jack Burton, the white lead played by Kurt Russell, which I think is his defining role, has his gun, shoots it above him in the battle cry. Bah, 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 bah. Obviously, he does that under, an archway, so all the stones and the rocks fall on top of him, and he's knocked out for the entire fight. He's just laying on the ground for the final battle. And he was like, yo, what the fuck? These are the things that I call genius. It is amazing. Because then everybody else is, actually like doing phenomenal stunt work. Flying through the air, kicks, punches, everything, and he's just on the ground. Just laying there. And then when he does get up, he's about to start fighting, but then he gets crushed by this giant monster that, for some reason, there's a giant monster in this movie, but it's great. Don't question it. Just let that movie happen. Just pins him down again, because it's their guards and also around them. And he's just out for the entire fight. It's one of my favorite movies. If you want something for just a good time on a Friday night, that's a really fun movie to watch. Get some pizza, get some drinks, some sodas, whatever you like to do when you watch movies. Big Trouble in Little China is phenomenal. Which, speaking of my hate for remakes, they've been trying to do a remake with The Rock. No. Please no. I'm already sick of The Rock. It's him and Kevin Hart. They're the new comedy duo right now. So sick of them. It was cute and fun for maybe 2 minutes in one movie. But then the studio's like, oh, people like that. Let's keep doing that. Please no. I'm done. The only reason why I watched the Jumanji movies was because of Jack Black. And even then. So this guy turned out pretty well, right? Just gotta do some touch-ups here, but we'll set this guy to the side. He's looking definitely a little worse than the other one, because I really just went in and be like, alright, you're an apocalypse bird. Look dirty. But we'll just set him to the side for now, and we'll give another touch-up over here too. The first one that we did, which is looking pretty good, although I do think I should rehydrate some of this paint. Yeah. For this one, it's just gonna be light passes, so I'm not too worried about getting more paint on here. It's just that the stuff spreads and gets in all the nooks and crannies. Because of this foam, it looks like there's parts of the bird that aren't really well sealed. And this is where the gloves come in handy. I can just go all in. And I do have another pair of gloves over here that I'm going to use for the actual terrain. And that's where they're really going to be needed. We'll just pat. Now what I'm doing here is just putting my thumb under these feathers and squeezing it here with the pads so that the paint spreads. Wow, it's actually looking phenomenally. Oh my god. A little crow. Or raven. What's more what's spookier? I think the raven because of Edgar Allan Poe. But
they're the buddies of doves.
Yeah, but hey, it's spooky times. This guy's got a little bit more white left over from his feathers. I think I'll just leave those highlights there, just kind of give them a little bit of separation from the other. But we'll set these guys to the side. do, we're gonna break into the little bottle of isopropyl alcohol. Kind of just break up the water tension and kind of get rid of this paint on the pad. You can see here just how easy that just ate away at it. Move this guy to the side. I'm not too worried about that guy getting any dirtier at all either. But strip it. Ah, yes. This mat is well loved. But yeah, just all up on that guy. Alright, dust to the side, isopropyl away. Now to get to the fun stuff. I'll keep the gloves on. Now going back to this puck. I said I wanted to keep the height. I said that I wanted to focus on that for this build. I'm thinking this will be a good size, but we really have to. Oh, there goes my. We'll really have to just plan this guy out. Because when I start adding the textures, as in dirt and sand, I'd have to have enough of a gap so it all stays. Although I can use this to my advantage, where because this foam really allows you to just add a whole bunch of texture, you can kind of see it over here already, is that there's these ridges. There we go, it's a little better. It's very easy to just carve these guys out and make it look like it's intentional. That way I can just focus on having texture on the top and not at the bottom, although most of it's going to get lost because I am going to put the skulls on top of it. But we're just going to just kind of score away at it. I'm not too worried about anything being perfect, because that's what makes them look good, is all the imperfections. So I'm just going to go in, top down. I'll move these guys to the side a little bit more so you can get a better view. And try not to keep these as uniform. Are you opposed to me using adrenaline here? I'll take those enough. We'll just go forward with this guy. So you're gonna go in. No, I don't need to. Just angle cuts, do like triangles. Get it in there. Peel down if you have to. It's not meant to be perfect. So I'm just scraping it to the side, getting edges. Cut my foam into pieces. This is my last resort. Yeah, stuff like that. Once I sand it down, it'll kind of mute some of this stuff. But for these sides, I really just want it to just have texture.
What is this surface that you're trying to make?
For this surface, I kind of want to go for a rock face. It's just more for like a display, but I'm taking inspiration from, I think it's called Devil's Peak. I'm blanking on the name right now. But if you've ever watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the mountain in North Dakota, I think, where they go to meet the aliens, that's what I'm kind of taking inspiration from. It's just this giant flat top looking thing that has a whole bunch of lines going up the side of it, and the native stories as to why it looks like that is because the giant bear god, I think it was, he goes there to sharpen his claws, so he just runs all along the wall of the mountain. I think it is called Devil's Peak. Daft Punk wanted to do a concert there for their yeah, it's an actual place. Daft Punk wanted to do their concert there for I think the random access memory album, but the natives, rightfully so, said no. Hey, this isn't just a place that you can just show up and do concerts. It's our land. It's sacred land, and they canceled. Which way to go them? They decided not to tour that year, which I think is one of the reasons why they broke up. But also they're just old. But we're just gonna keep going through, kind of going in for more of these edges over here. And then I kind of just want to just tear into this guy. The point of this is to make it look imperfect, because nothing in nature is a perfect line. You know, there's no straight lines in nature, so we try our best to replicate that. See, you can kind of see a little bit more here better. I'm really liking how this side is turning out. Yeah, look at that. Look at that boy. Phenomenal boy. Just gonna tidy up some of this stuff.
Kyle says, sand? No, it's cool, it's rough, and it gets everywhere.
That is true, but you know, we have to do it. I like how he has his whole tirade on sand, and then he keeps going back to Tatooine. He overcomes his fear and like hatred of sand so much that he goes back to just throw Obi-Wan into fire.
Well, you know the whole thing where where he lives in like a volcano base? Like we saw that in one of the oh, we saw that in Obi-Wan.
No, it's first in Rogue One, but yeah,
it's like you would think that after what happened to him, he would want to be as far away from lava as possible.
No, that volcano base, his castle. Yeah, I'm gonna go straight into paint. Sorry. His whole castle is back on Mustafar, and is built like on that same kind of riverbed area where he had his fight with Obi-Wan, because he's a perpetually salty boy and he has to remember everything that's ever happened to him.
Is it a never forget type thing?
Yeah, pretty much, to fuel his anger, but it's also I think they said it was because it's the place where it has a lot of dark side energies, and he built this castle on top of it because it was like a funneling place or whatever. But you know, whatever, I guess. So I'm pretty happy with how this guy turned out. The birds, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. What I'm gonna do next is start prepping this for actually putting on the texture of it. Although I did say I was gonna sand this down a little bit. Let's do a test fit. Like I said, always remember to do test fits. Okay, so there's nothing that's hitting on the edges on the sides. The real trick will be actually getting in the shape of the birds and everything, because it has to be level so that it goes straight in. So you see that the lip of the bottle, I have to keep that into account. So as I go forward, I have to keep it all within that side. So we'll see how much of that I can do. If not, I can always just kind of angle it in when I'm putting the birds so that it all slides in perfectly. It's the problem that I had with this same guy, where I do like this detail here. It's the hand sticking out. That guy, I kind of had to shove it in and force it into the actual bold piece. And I think one of the problems that I want to solve later is I do want to put some holes on the side of it, because it's not a snow globe. I want to keep it so that air can circulate through, because the spider does release a lot of little fibers around it. So I want to keep at least that dome.
It's so dusty.
Yeah. Then it keeps traveling. Preferably you want to keep this in a well-controlled environment where it's not getting too hot or too cold, because then condensation builds up. All the glues and everything are still settling, so they'll react to the temperatures. Like anything, you know, keep that in mind. There's always going to be things that you don't know affecting the build, but this is ready. What I'm thinking I want to do right now is we're going to move on from the carving, and we're going to prep this so that I can actually start putting this glue down and start building up the terrains. Like I said before, I have this fine gray texture, just sand. and I have this rough one for like rocks and pebbles. It's large. Before I do that, we need an earth base. So we're gonna go in for my brown over here. It's fine brown. Fine brown earth. And like I said, these are just, you can find them at hobby stores. Woodland Scenics is a pretty well-known brand. Model train stores are also great places to go because they have a lot more of this stuff. If you ever look at, I personally do have an N-scale railroad that I do want to make another layout for, but they have buckets of this stuff that you can just pick up.
Oh, you're throwing some.
Yeah. Ziploc bags, not the best, but they have buckets of them that you can just use for whatever you want. But we're gonna use fine brown. We're gonna use the grays.
It's fine.
It's fine. And like I said, for this glue, you can use Mod Podge. You can use different different types of glues. They do sell them pre-made and pre-mixed, but it's very easy to just get regular Elmer's glue, 1 part glue, 2 parts water, so that you can just start and keep going. You don't have to buy that stuff, but if it's helpful to you and you like the security of knowing that you're getting a well-known brand and that it's gonna work, all for it. You could always just, do it this way. There's a lot of great resources to figure out how to do all this stuff. Actually, where is my sandpaper? I had a big sheet of it. Yeah. There it is. All right, so remembering my rule. Sandpaper, getting on top. I'm sorry if that sounds all kinds of weird. All right, got it here on the edges. Let's go ahead and get going. So I did buy these little bottles just so it's easier to spread, but don't worry about it whether or not it's being level or not. We're all just gonna pat it down, and I'm not too worried about any of this paint getting on it because it'll still mix. Spread that around a little bit more because you want to be sure that you have coverage. And let's break out those gloves because we're gonna start getting into the messier side of this build. A lot of this will be pretty much playing with mud. But by the end of it, you get some pretty cool things out of it. I'm gonna start off with the fine brown. I didn't want to paint the base just because what I'm planning to do is build up dirt, build up some terrain so that it spills out here on the edges, and then the actual outer edge I'm just gonna paint with blacks and browns just so that I don't have to worry about any of that rock material falling to the side and making it hard to seal up the snow globe. But we're gonna go straight into this guy. Would you like to switch it over? I would like to show them. Thank you. All right, just drizzle that on top. It's just playing with dirt, getting it wet. A lot of this glue, I'm not worried about this bottom level so much because I want to just build up some unnatural textures or natural looking textures. Too much. Unnatural natural textures, yeah. You know what I mean? But a little bit more. And the reason why I have isopropyl alcohol is because of this next step. When you mix the glue and the waters together, like anything, it's going to have water tension. And you want to break that with the alcohol. The properties in it really help this stuff spread so that it gets even and doesn't just build up in one area. So you want to be able to remove the cap first. Yes. And just spread that around. And you can already see it now, just this the glue just spreading everywhere. It's gonna seep through all the nooks and crannies, make sure that it spreads, and just a little bit more on the top. That'll just keep that going. What I want to do is, because you can kind of see that it's kind of collected here in the middle, but I want to glue around here on the edges, so I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna go in with the regular glue, just full Elmer's, because I want to make sure at least some of this stays in place. And I'm not too worried about this edge, because I am going to kind of frame this with the bigger rocks, just so that there's a bit of separation with the rock side of things and the skull side of things, which they look fantastic. I'm gonna pull them out a little bit right now. It'll be like our own unboxing video for it. But isopropyl, I think you'll be able to see it pretty well here, just how it kind of spreads it. But like I said, don't be afraid to just mix this stuff around. You're gonna be building up in layers, and I'd like to have at least all this stuff pretty well covered. So we're gonna move on to the fine gray. This is the stuff that I'm thinking landscaping wise, as the detritus of the apocalypse has happened, and just through all the sand and dirt and edges that kind of happen and spread, these will be the cliffside features that I really want to, just focus on here. And I'm just gonna smack that shit down. It really just helps level it out. I'm not too worried about any of this just overpowering the other, because once it dries, a lot of this texture will show up, and like I said, it's all layers. A little bit more on the edges here where it looks like it's a little dry. Just getting that coverage is really what you're looking for. And here on the edges. And you can kind of see it, that what I'm putting on now is kind of settling into all the nooks and crannies of the caves and everything that we carved out here. That's a pretty good example right there. You can kind of see it. That divot is just collecting a whole lot of the sand and dirt. Yeah, there we go. Now for stuff like that, as in things that are spreading and you want to make sure that you have covered, I have little spray bottles. These are just left over. I'm trying to think. Over time, the paint has and the markers have come off a bit, but keeping things labeled is important. Here it is. It's the same 1 to 2 part mix, but it's just in a spray form, so you can kind of get those crannies and make sure that is all covered. This is terrible. Just gonna spread that around. And then we're gonna move on to the bigger rocks. Go ahead and put this stuff away. I do have grasses and things, but I'm not gonna add it to this guy. We'll just add these rocks in now so that it gives it some time to dry. What I'm thinking I want to do is that I want to specifically put drops in corners so that I can just build up bigger rock sections. This is kind of spilling over here, but we can just clean that guy up. If you look at what I'm doing, just tapping them in, giving it a little bit more texture. We'll pull it around in a second. And then don't be afraid to use all the stuff that's kind of left over and fallen, because that's really just gonna come in handy, because all this stuff is gonna be mixed, and like in real life, things aren't going to be in layers. They're going to be spewing around. We'll throw in some there. And then for this stuff on top, I'm not too worried about putting a big block of glue. So we'll just go back into our mix and just keep layering it on. And you'll see, like what I was saying, when it came out, it's got all these bubbles. It's just clumped up, and then isopropyl just comes in, washes it all away. Got a little too crazy with that one. But that's why we have the excess. Pile it on top, make sure it gets everywhere. Because it's coarse. It's dry.
Gets everywhere.
I don't like sand. But yeah. That's what we're gonna do with that guy. We're gonna let that dry for a little bit. I'm not expecting it to get completely cured overnight, but factor that into when you're building. All this stuff has to dry out, and that'll be for future us's to worry about. But we're gonna go and actually check out on these hot glue skulls. This is the real thing that's got me excited. It looks like they're fully cured if you tap them. They're all just properly settled in. These are for baking for candies and stuff, but I think it's the same consistency, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Here, let's get this guy out. Oh my god! Look at that! Oh my god, that's awesome. Here, get it here in the center where you can see it. You can kind of see the highlights. That turned out amazing. That is awesome. Look at that. Look at that skull boy. Oh my god. Alright, let's get the rest out of here. These are amazing. I was really worried that these weren't going to turn out well, but yeah, no, this is all great here. Yeah, I wasn't too worried about this making it difficult to come out. Wow, the teeth detail. You can kind of see with the highlights there, but even the teeth detail was preserved in there. That is phenomenal. This is the one I'm worried about, but not too worried about. Yeah, he's got the edges, but we can just trim that off with the X-Acto knife. We have 4 of them. Here, we'll do a size comparison right now. But this is the size of the little cup. To scale, it's about 2.5 inches in diameter. So that'll kind of give you a size comparison what there are. I'm thinking for this guy, here, we'll put this stuff here. Kind of want to just build them up like that. Maybe put one up to the side. With these edges, I'm thinking with the hot glue, I'll be able to fill in part of these corners, stuff that people won't be able to see, and just build it up. That way I can also keep in mind of where I'm gonna put the birds. But no, these turned out great. I'm really glad that I saw that video. I'll have to find the name of the guy, but he did this technique and he did it for a candelabra thing, but we're just gonna make more of them. I think I'll move away from the skulls because we have skulls, but let's look at our options here. I'm excited now. We have jack-o'-lanterns, and we also have these poison bottles. Pablo, which ones do you want? Jack-o'-lanterns? Yeah. I think I do have an orange in here.
You'll never know when she's drinking a smoothie. Unlike...
Yep, here we go. Alright, so I guess the stream went down for a little bit, but we're fine. It's all fine now. This is great. I just started to go ahead and fill in the hot glue for these guys. We're going in for the pumpkins. It looks like there's a set of 5 per row or like per set. Here. I just want to make sure I can fill on the edge. I'm overfilling these just a little bit so I can get the edge details. This is where, if you're gonna do this, I recommend getting the hot the heat gun and kind of blasting it from the back. That way the edges can really set in and settle into the ends. Here, I gotta get some focus for these edges. I just want to fill it in with as much hot glue. I just put in a new stick, so we'll let that settle in for a sec. That way it's easier to pour these other guys, because this guy has a lot of textures and details that I want to kind of preserve. And like the Bob Ross. This will probably haunt me later, but just all in. More glue. More glue. Also, hi Vaughn. How's it going? We just saw your message. Yes, sorry that we haven't been calling back, at least on my end. You just always seem to call whenever we're just busy, or we're out, or we're like at work. Like, I'm glad you're watching. We'll have to see when we can meet up again and hang out. But yeah, we're good. We're alive. We think about you. We hope you're doing great. We hope you're doing fine. If we didn't lose you with the live stream going down, just want to say how's it going. Alright, so I'm just going to do 4 for right now. And then we'll go back to the build. What I want to do next with that guy is punch in the holes for the birds. That way I can start using that to build up on the skeletons. That'll be the next side of this. And you see, yeah. In my hubris, I forgot to, or I elected to ignore this guy heating up a little bit so I can put more pumpkins in here, but that's a problem for later me. There we go. Get in there. Hot glue. And I'm not too worried, like I said. If this just comes out looking all kinds of gnarly, I can always just, like I said, hit it with the heat gun and it'll settle into place. I just want to make sure I can get the edges here. And as it cools, this guy will settle in and preserve that detail. Now that I know that the last one's turned out pretty good, I'm confident that I can just kind of fill in these edges and I can just shave them down for what I need. Alright, not as pretty as the first one, but those guys will be fine. Now, bird time. Let's bring these bad boys back out. Yeah, turned out pretty cool. So, you can use any screwdriver or anything sharp. I'm just gonna keep going with this guy. I said the placement of these. I wanted one to be taller. I think what I want to do would be to jam the bird on top of the skull, so it looks like he's resting on it. I think it'd also be kind of fun to fuse 2 skulls together, but that'll be a whole other thing to consider because of the gaps. But we'll keep it going with this guy. I could.
You know how you could do it? If the sticks were like metal, and heat it up.
That's what I was thinking, but I'm thinking I could just use the tip of the hot glue gun, but that might be risky because I don't want it to lose the shape of the skull too much.
You want something more precise. Can't you heat up your BB pin?
Actually, yeah.
A little lighter?
I don't have a lighter on me, but I think this will be at least fine for now. If anybody has any questions. Have we missed any questions? I mean, I did say hi to Vaughn. Hi, Vaughn. Just general shoutouts. I guess now would be the time to ask questions if anybody has any questions. Pablo, do you have any questions? I can see why.
Oh my god.
It's a tiny bit. Or I can just force it.
I feel like it just found a lighter the other day.
I'm not too worried about this guy. Wait. Duh. Hold on. This is why we have the mystery bag of tools. What tools we have today, folks? We've got the Dremel. But we're gonna take,
Like drill it?
yes. I have attachments. You have those clamps with you, the ones that you found yesterday? Or not yesterday, earlier today?
Camera ones?
No, the... Forgetting what they are.
Pliers?
Pliers, there we go. Ha.
No, I don't know where they are.
We spent hours looking for things and we found
I
so
know.
many things.
But like somewhere in the garage, I don't know where.
Here, let me see. Every tool's a hammer. In this case, these
No,
guys.
that's bad.
Me. Kinda, but not as much as I wanted it to. I'm just blanking. Blanching, we be blanching. We live up in a mansion. Eat your own pants, eat your own pants. Eh. I just. Just to explain what I'm doing, because I might be losing some people. I have this piece on the Dremel. It's like a little drill piece that I want to switch out the attachment to with the front. I didn't just drop everything, it's fine. That's totally what's supposed to happen. But here's the bigger piece. This is the one I want to use. But if I can't use a Dremel, I might be able to just use my hands. Now I'll take this glove off. I don't care if my hands get dirty now. We're in too deep. Join me now, ladies and gentlemen, to Annibal Loses His Mind.
You know, you could just get a really tiny drill. You have a drill and drill bits that are really small. That's not how drill bits are supposed to be used.
But it's working.
You might as well have used the nail. Like, do you want a nail? Because we have nails.
Just let me to my madness. Yes, please. Here we go. I can already hear Gabby screaming at me now through the. I got that screaming at me now through the TV. We'll just.
Nail.
This is fine.
Did you want it to stick out that much?
No. But. But here's how we solve that problem. We'll just snip. We'll snip a little more. Because I'm going to fill this up with glue no matter what. Okay, so here we go. We'll just jam that guy in there. Hey! There you go. Little skull dude.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. Now, I do want to... I'm not too worried about not painting them right now. Because I want to build up, like, the ashy texture with them together. Wow, that looks just great by itself right there. Look at that. Little skull boy. Here we go. Oh, would you look at that? Okay. I don't know. Do we lose it?
Yes. Oh. We lost one of the cameras.
Ah. Well.
Close-up camera.
We lost the close-up camera. It's fantastic. I think I'm just gonna... I want to have a centerpiece kind of look. So, I want to try practicing and just layering this guy up here, filling that edge with the hot glue, and then kind of carving out the back half of this skull and putting it on the front. That way it kind of has a defined front-facing feature. It'll just come down to not chopping up so much of the skull that I lose all that detail. But it should be fine. Another instance will I kind of realized that the Dremel might be overkill too because it just generates heat so fast that it might not be ideal.
Well, that's why it has speeds.
Well, yeah, but...
You just always full send it, don't you?
Yes, I always full send it. That's my problem. I'm like, oh my god, I get so excited I want to finish it. And... yeah. They're just happy accidents.
I think those are just accidents.
Hey. If they're just accidents, it's fine. Did I learn from them? Probably. Will I do them again? Yes. But I know them now. Again, dear viewers, this is what it's like to live in my mind. And you're just seeing how flawed this whole thing is of me trying to kind of cut this guy, but I will commit to it. I'm in too deep now. And I'm not too worried about these cuts being fine anyways. You didn't see that?
They might just cut to the close-up.
You did not. God damn it. All right.
Hey, wait, I got this.
Here. Well, this will show you how. This will show you how to remove it. You see, you unscrew that top part,
And that's too late for my joke.
and it opens the gap.
And that's too late for my joke, but.
That is terrible. You're confusing so many people. All our 3 viewers. How many viewers do we have right now, actually? Is it actually 3?
Well, it's between 4 and 7.
Oh, wow. Neat. Hello, dear viewers. Between 4 and 7. That's phenomenal. You know what? Full send it. Whatever. That's fine. This is why man created power tools. Yeah.
Wait, I thought you couldn't get the thing off. Do you want the drill? I'll go get the drill and you can have...
No, this is something else. Remember eye protection? I think I do have eye protection here somewhere, but...
I found one earlier and you said, cool.
Yes. But we're doing this at medium speed right now.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Full send it.
This is not end well.
Yeah, see, it's melting the hot glue as I go, but... So I'm trying to go slow. That way I can still at least have some control and so that it doesn't melt. But I know it's going to happen anyways. As long as I can get the mid part, that's the one that has the most hot glue. So Trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. Yeah, it's not bad. And I can always just reshape all this stuff with the hot glue.
You have an issue.
Hey. Yeah, actually, that turned out pretty good. We obviously do have to clean up some of these edges, but, you know. Shh. Away from... There we go. Remember, kids, don't do what I'm doing. We'll have to add the disclaimer that we're putting in front of the videos or all the build videos. We are professional amateurs. I'm not too worried about this guy looking all kinds of messed up either, just because part of the look that I want to give it is very burnt, crisp, dystopian. So we'll be incorporating that to the edge. I think also what I want to do is when it comes to placing the skeleton or the skull here is that I want to cut part of this diorama so that I can just kind of tuck them into the side. And yeah, I think I'll do that side because I've already kind of moved the dirt around. But I'm just gonna cut into this. And just all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, just like that. Just taking a piece out of the pie. Let's get you going there. Aha. There we go. Oh, transitions. Oh, we have technology. Oh, wow. So if you look at it, you can see it here a little. It sits a little front facing, or it's facing a little bit too much to the front. I'm gonna carve out some of these corners and make it so that it rests a little bit more flush to it. And again, I'm not worried about having gaps because all that's just gonna get filled in with dirt and terrain and hot glue. So, you know, always looking at the bright side of all the things that you can do with this stuff. Yeah, it's all gonna get filled later. And look, there we go. It's still a little, still looking a little sideways, but there we go. That's a better view. It'll be very nice indeed. Why did I take the gloves off? Because I said full send it. Pablo, are you worried of my? Just worried of me. I'm not worried about the tremble, I'm worried about you. I think we balance each other out in stress levels. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. This guy's gonna fit in well.
Oh yeah, but...
Oh yeah. Alright, we're just gonna go in with the hot glue and just fill this guy in. Went in for that, and we're just gonna shove it in there. Yes. For the skull, when it comes to painting them, I think I just want to do some yellowing. That way, I can still keep some of that white, the ivory look that the hot glue gun gives it. I think I'm just gonna do 3 skulls, but I'm gonna put one guy up here at an angle. So the look of this will be like this. And like I said, I just want to fill it in with the hot glue. And all that extra stuff will just give it texture, because I want to build up the dirt and everything around it, so it looks like a mound of ash. Ashes and skulls. Yeah. Now, to be secure, we're going to go back to what I did, because I don't want these guys falling off. I'm going to be putting another stick here at the bottom. I'm going to use the tip of the hot glue gun so that I can jam it in there and kind of keep its place. And then Pablo did also give us nails, so I might be using those a little later, but
Yeah, because you used to go so stick.
Well, yeah, but also I want to have something that's girthy enough so that it can actually pressure fit into the foam as well. And we'll do the same thing that I did last time, where I have my stick, tip of the hot glue gun at the bottom, and we'll let that do its thing. And I'm just pushing the nozzle in until this moves around, just giving it electric glue so that there's something that can mush, and cutting off an edge, and it's gone. Cutting off an edge so that enough can jam into it and also rest in the skull. So there's a bit of a cavity resting, and there's a bit of a lip, but because it's all hot glue, I can just fill it in. It'll just fuse to itself.
We're lagging.
Hmm. Are we still lagging?
A little bit, but...
Okay. Alright, well, I'll go back to talking if it's not too much, but glued it in. I'm gonna go and secure this in with a little bit more super glue. That way I know it just doesn't go anywhere. Putting that in the hole and then just around, because there's a lot of texture over here that it's really just gonna settle in with the rod and the hot glue and everything. And just pressure that into it. Yeah. Oh, that looks very good. Now, for this side, now that I have this bird in here, I don't think I'm gonna do the stick technique. I'm just gonna go straight for gluing it on, but what I want to do first is for this edge, fill in these corners with some hot glue. That way I have some material that I can bunch up the dirt in again, because that's where I want to build up more of that ash that I was talking about. But, and this hasn't set properly yet, but I'm not too worried. Like I said, most of the stuff won't be seen, it's just so that all this has something so it can secure itself to. But, hot glue time. I'm just gonna eyeball it too. Because Halloween, get it? Eyeball. Actually, wait. Important moment. Before I commit to that guy, I think I want to have these birds facing each other. So I have to put this stick at a certain height, and also so that it's looking at the other guy. Oh yes, apocalypse birds. Okay, that won't be too bad. I'm going to jam a hole right behind the skull here, so that the pole can actually rest in there. And super glue. Just a little bit on the tip, and just in the place where I want it to rest. And those guys will, birds. I want my birds. All right, that guy will just rest there. I have to catch myself with that one. That would have been bad if I forgot it. But this is kind of like the look that I want to go for. It's very neat. All right. First, super glue on the edge. The benefit of kind of having the edge being pushed up by all the dirt that hasn't settled yet is that I can use it as a marker and kind of build up on that side. Kind of let that super glue settle in. I'm also gonna layer some of the pole where I had the other bird in there. Gonna let that guy in there, and then we're just gonna fill this whole cavity with hot glue. And that'll just naturally settle in. It might warp a little bit, but I'm not too worried. Because all that's just gonna get covered with dirt and sand and rocks. Yeah. We are confidently almost like pretty much done with this guy. No! It fell! It fell, no! The skull fell! It's fine. It's fine. Look, he's fine. He's happy. We'll just wipe that away, pat that away. It's fine. Happy accidents. Happy accidents. Happy accidents. Happy accidents. It's fine. You see, look. That's where it slipped. Getting too aggressive with it, but I'm gonna actually use this nail to poke some of these hot glue gun bottles. Shape. Okay, so what I'm doing is I have this nail. I'm just shaping in this edge. Yes. More centered. Yeah. Now I gotta do it not necessarily fast because the hot glue is settling in, but I want to at least get some of this cleaned up. I'll keep it there. Hmm? Why? I want my bird. Alright, that'll be fine. This is fine. This is great. This is fantastic.
Are you doing the dog thing?
Yes. Okay. Well, still, this isn't bad. This isn't bad at all, actually. Because, like I said, all this is just going to get covered up with more details and dirt, so... This is the bottom of the side that no one's ever going to see. Unless they watch this video. They'll know. But, it's fine. Now, if you'll see, in the center here, the part where I put in the hot glue. Here, well, let's see if I can get a better view for you guys. Down here, the hot glue didn't rest. The hot glue didn't rest with the edges of the skulls, which is fine. It's great. It's whatever. As long as it has contact with the ground and everything else, it'll be fine. I'm gonna start filling that in with dirt, and we'll go back to the same process of putting in the glue, layering stuff up. But instead of just using all that smaller stuff and just kind of using it all up, I'm going to get my bigger rocks. And I'm not too worried about the color of these guys. They'll just fill in that space. And we'll give a lot more texture. Where did I leave? There they are. Yeah, these guys will give a lot more texture. And I'm gonna put this the glue mixture at the bottom. Just kind of drown it a little bit, let that settle, and just drop these guys in there. Kind of fill in the gaps. I'm going to use my X-Acto because it's thin enough to just kind of get in there and force these rocks into each corner. Make sure to keep it at an angle so that all of it stays in place. You can kind of see there. Gonna put this guy in there as well. That guy in there. And if you haven't noticed, most of pretty much all this is just eyeballing. But you can kind of see that's what we're looking at. All this is gonna get painted, so it's just gonna really level out the entire look for all this stuff. But rinse and repeat. I'm gonna go in with the smaller gray sand. Fill in all those gaps. Just put in more glue. I'm gonna go in for the full straight Elmers. A little more. and this is where things get drippy, but it's fine. This is fine. Just letting all that settle in. And the benefit of all these rocks too is that they're gonna fill in the cavities and everything that's left over from the skeletons. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Yeah, we'll clear out some space. You can start even seeing it from that angle as well. Just how much of that work is just putting into filling it all in. I will clean up these guys in a little bit, but right now I'm just filling things in, letting things settle. There we go. Now I have a lot of just build up here with these guys. Not to worry, that's where glue comes and saves the day. Surface and then isopropyl. I'm trying to break this guy out now. And that's just gonna permeate all in there. And everyone's gonna get acquainted. Everything's gonna settle. So once I do the paint, that'll be when things really get looking good. In the meantime, see, it's spilling out, which, like I said, I'm not too worried. All this will dry and it'll look like sand, and it'll really just fill things in. The important thing though is getting that texture and getting the variety. So now I've got enough of that smaller sand in where I'm not too worried about this getting any more. Now we're just getting these bigger rocks, making it look like there really is just layers. Onions, ogres are like layers. Onions. That's cool, right?
Something like that.
It's that Love Guru man who was in the Halloween movies, the ones where he kills the babysitters. Get it, Michael Myers joke? Pablo is just so done with my puns. But the important thing is that most of this was focus point. Most of this is pretty well just settled in. I have a brush that I want to just pick at these birds for a little bit, but I think that's settling in pretty well. Just more glue, more layers, playing with dirt, playing with mud. I want to get all those corners where I put all those other rocks, so that it all just fuses into one. I think next time what we'll do as well is kind of put out a list of all the things that we're going to be using, so if you guys want to follow along and post to everything that you guys build as well. It's also the benefit of working with hands, just putting all that dirt back on there.
Like a build along?
Yes, like a build along. And then we're just going to cover all these edges that still have just glue. And that's going to give it a lot more texture here. Because the point is you want to get everything covered. And that's what's really going to give it that ashy look. Yeah. And we'll let those guys sit there for a bit. And if you guys were here with us at the beginning of the stream, you'll remember that I talked about foam clay. Now, at the beginning, like I said, of the stream, with the foam clay, I made like this little horn tooth shape thing. I think it's gotten enough time for it to cure. And we'll just show that guy off. Yeah, look at that. Still a little wet here at the bottom. I don't think I can go into carving him just yet. Where is it? Where is it? There we go.
It looks like a chocolate chip.
Oh, like the Hershey's? Yeah. Fantastic little guy. This material, like, it's just foam. You can use it to carve anything you want. Gets all the great shapes. These guys are still warm. I'm gonna let these guys cure for a little while longer. But in the meantime, while we let things cure, we're gonna do something really fast, really easy. It's a quick trick with making candles, or like making fake candles look more realistic. This guy. This guy is a dollar store LED light up candle that we got. It's fine. It looks okay when you first buy it, but all this extra ridging we did with the hot glue gun, just to make it look like it's been used, like it's worn, and put it on a pedestal, make it look nice. With this guy, I think later on I do want to go in and adjust the hello. I want to adjust the edges here so it looks like it's drooping over and just like dripping all over the thing, making it look a lot more old. It's gonna give it a lot more character.
Did you buy the pedestal together?
No, actually, the pedestal came from another dollar store. It was separate, but it still achieves the effect. The other thing that I want to do, I have this model. We also got real candles. Now, I don't think that I'll be able to go all in for hot gluing these guys because they're real, but I do want to light these for a while, kind of shove them in here, and just see all that hot wick just get down into the edges. I am cutting the bottom of this candle.
Why?
Because I want to get it to fit into this bottle.
You could just warm up the bottom and then shove it in.
Hey, you are right. I should do that. That's better. But I just want... I want it now, right? Welcome to Ethan Loses His Mind and whittles a candle live on camera. This is not going to look pretty, but I don't care if it does or doesn't. It's going to wick over, and also I'm going to paint the bottle. I want to make some labels. We have a Cricut cutter that we can use. There's a lot of benefits to just losing your mind and being like, it's fine. Because then you can be creative like me and do things like this that are just really cheap, and how much of it is just, he's just losing his mind on camera. So you're like, wow, that's very creative. It's fantastic. There we go. Nah. We'll revisit these guys later. I think I will turn them on, let this wick just drip over and look all kinds of use, but we'll focus back to what we said with this candle. Now, the technique with these guys is first find the candle, making sure that it's the right amount of temperature, but also how it reacts to heat. I found that these were pretty okay. You can definitely tell where the heat started to leave wrinkles and where it started to kind of warp the plastic a bit, but it wasn't so bad where I'm like, oh no, this is gonna end in disaster. Which didn't, obviously, because I'm doing it now. But what you want to do is, when you're making these edges, is to keep it random. The big thing that you want to focus on is making it look natural. So you're going to start at the bottom with the hot glue gun and just let it build up and rise all the way to the top. And I'm going to be doing this all the way around. Don't worry about it looking perfect or having straight lines, because the wick doesn't melt with straight lines. There we go. And I'm just gonna angle this up so that the globs just get some character. Actually, I'm gonna turn it around, make my way down up. That's better. That way you guys can see a little. Way down up.
Have you tried just putting a big blob on top and just seeing how it falls?
It takes too long, but also with this, it's easier to really just control how much you get.
Okay.
Because I have done that with like the top edge where I wanted to see it just build up. But for these longer ones, I wanted to just kind of have it be set already as is. Because like I'll leave that edge here. It's looking a little wonky, but I'm not too worried because like I'll just bubble up more hot glue to the top. It'll settle, it'll melt, and then it'll all start looking used. Because the point is, you want it to look like it's been going on for hours and no one's really attended to it. And look, it's starting to reach the bottom. I'm just gonna leave it pressed to it so that it just kind of gets a lip. Because that's something that I was missing with the other guys. You can kind of, yeah, there we go. As they make their way down, you just want it to build up character. And I'm just gonna kind of speed run over here in the back. I'm not too worried about these guys looping over themselves. It's all just gonna start looking more and more aesthetically pleasing. With these guys, eventually I do want to build a candelabra. Because we are going for themed costumes for our wedding. And we're doing a zombie look. And in the original Dracula, the Bela Lugosi one, the old Universal ones, Dracula walks around with the candelabra in his hand. And that's a very classic look that I kind of want to harken with my costume. And it's something that I feel like will really complete it. So by getting this done, it'll be very easy to kind of fill in that look. Because there have been other interpretations of Dracula. They've been great. I just recently watched Van Helsing. It's amazing. I do like the way that actor kind of brings a lot of emotion and just raw anger to the character, but also is a very attractive villain. But I do like the classic look of Bela Lugosi Dracula. With a lot of these characters and with a lot of the Universal horror movies, those interpretations of those characters have defined what people imagine them to look like. And I kind of want to harken back to that. Now, while I would love to do like a Nosferatu type vampire, there's just something classic about Bela Lugosi Dracula that I want to homage to. And see, look, I am doing the globs over the edge. Want to switch over to the closer? Hello. Can you switch over to the closer camera? I'm doing the globs on the edges. Yeah, there we go. You'll see it here. But over time, that'll start dripping over. Gotta be careful for these hot glue gun strands, though. They're just gonna pull away, but all this stuff can get cleaned up with the X-Acto later. I accidentally pulled one up with my hands, so that's what I'm doing back here. But we'll let this guy sit. And the mistake of doing that now is that I have to wait for the hot glue here. But we can just pop open these guys. We'll just do it here in the background. Yeah. Again, can't go wrong with these little pumpkins. I don't even know what I'm going to use these for now, but it's filled up the little diorama. But I'm thinking, if they're not going to be exposed to too much heat, especially with these fake ones, we can use them as decorations for the candelabra or anything after that. What do you say to taking a quick break? I want to let this stuff kind of cure for a bit, or do we want to just end the stream here?
I think we're going to take a break a little bit.
Okay. Well, what I'm thinking I'm going to do for this guy, is...
Because we could just resume tomorrow.
I think that'll be the best case. Because it's already gone on long enough, and we've already gotten to a place where I feel comfortable where this needs to dry.
We're 3 hours.
Oh, we're 3 hours in? That's fantastic. We can do it in parts. But I want to let this guy dry for the night, settle in. That way tomorrow when we start painting, we can actually really give it all that detail.
We can do like a morning live stream and an evening one so we can have a break in between.
I'm done.
I mean, the setup's already here, and so.
Well, now that we have the setup for everything, this will be totally fine. But yeah, no, I mean, all these techniques are really easy to use. You already saw the materials that I use for all this. It's just hot glue, pins, a little bit of insanity. I use isopropyl alcohol, Elmer's glue, dollar store props. All of this is just really easy to get started on. It doesn't have to be like a big project. And you don't have to go out to the store and buy all these major, articles. These were all $1. Now it looks like I could sell this for maybe $20 on Etsy, and people would buy it. It's
more than just like decoration for an event. Like you can use this can like really add to like set decoration for like a short or stuff like that.
Yeah, well, Pablo said set decoration for shorts. All these tips and tricks can be used for everything, not just for parties. We'll check in with this guy tomorrow. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be ready to go for paint, but I'm really happy how all this just turned out. This in particular it's gonna look amazing. Although we'll have to deal with fitting these birds into the bowl tomorrow, but that's fine. Well, it'll be fine. It'll be like a ship in a bottle. But no, I'm not too worried. They're so rigid and the foam is really strong that I don't think this is gonna cause any problems. So. Famous last words. We'll see how it goes. But that's pretty much it for this. Yep, tune in tomorrow, you guys. We'll be here at around probably the same time or earlier. We'll send an alert if you guys are subscribers to the channel. If not, subscribe now. Hit the like button. We're going to be doing a lot more of this stuff soon. We have a lot more videos coming up on our sound panel builds and videos on a new project that we're doing for Halloween as well. So stay tuned for that. I've been Ethan. We've been Pablo back there as our moderator. Have a good one. Be safe. Be good people. Keep making. Bye.